Are we seeing this bubble burst? Welcome everybody. So you might have seen in a bit of gaming news that the live service bubble doesn't quite seem to be what it used to be. I first heard about this through Game Informer, and I've been doing a bit of research on the side as well. And we are actually seeing, for the first time since the whole live service games became a real big thing, a number of them closing within close proximity of each other, and quite a few of them closing after a really rather short time. The first one I heard about, which is what started me researching to make this video, was Apex Legends Mobile, a big EA mobile game. Now, this seemed to be everywhere when it launched, and I thought it was actually doing really rather well. I assumed so anyway. However, just 9 months after it launched, it will be closing on the 1st of May. Obviously not making enough money. I think that's fair to say about all of these actually. The money's just not there to make them worthwhile to maintain the servers and things like that. Also, apparently EA had developed a Battlefield mobile game. Obviously it would be very much in the spirit of the Battlefield games, which are in the spirit of Call of Duty, which are technically in the spirit of Medal of Honor if you want to really get into it. But I digress. With the Battlefield game, they actually got as far as making a beta version for people to play. So the fact that they're scrapping it without ever launching it means they're going to lose a huge investment. To scrap the entire thing without even trying to recoup some of your costs, that's a really big, ballsy decision. And it shows that they really have lost faith, quite frankly, that it would make them any money. They figured it'd be better to cut their losses and run. But of course it's not just EA suffering. Have you heard of Rumbleverse? I dare say you have. It's a bit of a battle royale style game, but wrestling themed. So rather than shooting each other with guns, you go doing suplexes and choke slams and things like that. Now when it launched, which I think was actually less than a year ago, I thought what a fantastic idea. Battle royales getting a bit samey. This is something different. And I like wrestling, I like wrestling games, but I never did get round to giving it a go. And I dare say, I'm not the only one. Otherwise they wouldn't be closing it, would they? I will also say that the reviews on Rumbleverse, because I haven't played it myself, so I'm just going from reviews, but the common theme says it's very much repetitive and quite frankly boring after a while. So I dare say what's happened here, you had a big player base to start with, which dropped very, very quickly because people just didn't come back. And another different take on the genre, Knockout City, the dodgeball themed battle royale game. Now I thought this would have done really, really well because apart from anything else, being dodgeball, it's a bit less violent than your traditional gun shooting ones, be a bit more kid friendly perhaps. This is closing on the 6th of June, just over 2 years after it launched. 2 years is not a long time. So for that to be going relatively quickly, admittedly not as quick as some of the others, that's a big thing. I mean, you think about how much investment must have gone into making and maintaining that game and the servers, and they're just scrapping it. There's no way I can see that they'll recoup their costs in that short a time. Obviously, I'm not an expert on these things, I'm just using common sense. And there's been a lot more that have been scrapped as well. You can find lists everywhere if you want to Google it. The big question is, why? I mean, these things were all the rage live service games. They were basically cash cows. A company made a half decent one, in the vein of PUBG. You were away. Well, I think one of the big problems is oversaturation. Let's face it, if you're in business, you see one company, one of your rivals, is doing something that's really successful and making you a lot of money, you copy it. It's common sense. There's a lot of money in this market, let's explore it, let's try and get ourselves a bit of that cake. But there's just too much of it now. I mean, apparently Ubisoft's working on up to 10 live service games at the minute. Don't take that as fact, it's a rumour I've seen online. But I wouldn't put it past. With the oversaturation, people will just be going back to their favourite ones. You might see something new, take Rumbleverse as an example, and think, oh, that's different, I'll give it a go. If you get bored of it, which according to reviews, a lot of people have, you go back to your favourite. That's definitely got to be one source of it, just too much of it, you stick to your favourite ones. The only one I actually play, as I've mentioned before on this channel, is Call of Duty Mobile on my iPad. I want to play Battle Royale, that's what I play. I don't really bother with the others because I'm happy with what I've got. Also, I do question whether people are less inclined to spend money anymore. Enough's been said about loot boxes to make its own video, and there's no point me jumping on that bandwagon. We all know the opinion of them. Pay to win mechanics, don't like them. Well, in case you haven't noticed, the world's not in the best financial state right now. So I dare say people are less inclined to spend money on things that can be free. Also, I just think that the general reception towards them is so poor, people don't like them. And don't forget, live service games are not the new kid on the block anymore. They're not new, they're not exciting, they're not something to get excited about. They're a well-established genre in gaming with many, many titles to choose from. You can only be new, fresh, exciting, and ride that wave for so long. And that one's well and truly trickled out by now. And the only other thing, and this is pure speculation on my point, so I'd love your feedback in the comments below, I think people are going off live service games. I saw a poll on another YouTuber's channel, Spawnwave. He's a massive YouTuber, far better than me. And he did a poll a week or two ago about an upcoming game, I forget the title, saying, rumours are it's going to be a live service game. Does this put you off buying it? Over 75% of people said it put him off, according to this poll, which had a lot of people voting on it because, as I say, he's a massive channel, because he's very, very good. I'll be honest with you, it puts me completely off games, the live service model. I don't want that. I just want to get a game, put it in a machine, play it. I've already paid for it to get the game. I don't want to then have to pay more when I'm playing it, or constantly be bombarded with adverts to try and get me to spend money. Take the Avengers game, for example. The MCU, riding high, arguably higher than it is now. The Avengers, one of the hottest properties in media. An Avengers game should have been an easy win. Instant money. Yet, it floundered and failed. Because they built the game all around this live service model so it could give them a continual income stream. They gave a shoddy single player, boring campaign. People didn't buy it. Whereas if they'd simply made a very good game with multiplayer as an additional option, I feel it would have done a lot better. Sony's working on a Last of Us online game at the moment. And that's good, that's great. I probably won't play it personally, because as I've said, I'm not a big online gamer, but they've already got one of the best games with the best stories ever made, and they're adding to it. They're not giving you a substandard version of one thing to compensate for the other. Perhaps that's where things are going wrong. As I say, hands up, that's pure speculation on my point. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying live service games are going to completely disappear from the stratosphere, never to be seen again. I strongly suspect Fortnite will outlive me, as will Call of Duty Warzone and a few others as well. I think CSGO's still going, isn't it? And of course your big MMO titles like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. Well, Final Fantasy XIV might eventually get updated to a new Final Fantasy. But you get my point. There'll always be live service games. I just think the landscape's really changing, and I think it could be permanent. Whereas before, you could develop a relatively good idea, dare I say it, a clone of somebody else's game with some slight twists, and you'd make money. It's not the case now. I think it's got to be something really, really good to succeed in this current landscape. And you know what? I don't think that's a bad thing. We might see less live service games in the future, but we might see a better quality. You never know. Let me know your thoughts on anything I've discussed today. Love hearing from you all as always. And until next time, watch this space. New video coming soon!